everyone. Welcome to another episode of Just a Girl with a Sword. I am so excited to share the Word of God with you today. And we are still in the book of Hebrews. Last week we did Hebrews 11 verses 6. And today I am on Hebrews 12 verses 1 to 2. And I'll finish next week with verses 3 and 4. So today, what does Hebrews 12 verses 1 and 2 says? It says basically, since you are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, then set aside every weight and the sin that so easily entangles or ensnares us, and run forth with perseverance the race that is set forth ahead of us, looking to Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. That is basically what it says. And I have 3 points that I'd like to share with you from those 2 verses that we read. Point number 1, you have an audience. What does the verse open with? Since you are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. Which cloud, you are wondering? Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11 is talking about all those saints who have gone before us. Rahab, Samson, Deborah, Abraham, Moses, Enoch, all those people, Joseph. That is the cloud of witnesses that now we are hearing. We are being referred to in chapter 12. That cloud of witnesses, the saints, they're watching us. And not only them, I would also imagine that the audience we have is the rest of the world. We are supposed to be the light of the world. We are the salt. So people are watching you to see Christ in you. So now that is what we're being exhorted. Remember that you have an audience. Remember that you are being looked at by other people. People want to see Christ in you. People want to see how Christian life is supposed to be. People want to see godliness in you. They want to see God in you. Jesus says when we lift God up, when we live lives that honor him, then he will draw people to himself. So do you realize that you have an audience? Yes, you have an audience. And don't forget that ultimately your audience is God. That is your audience of one. People are watching you. So are you living life that glorifies God? Are you living a life that points other people to God? Second point, after you have an audience, what weighs you down? Talks about, let us set aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares or entangles us. What weighs you down? You know what I'm talking about. We all got them sins, that they just keep on recurring, whether it's temptations that come our way, whether it's bad habits. What weighs you down? In essence, what hinders you from living a godly life? What hinders you from being able to testify about God's goodness? What hinders you? Is it pride? Is it lying? Is it gossip? What mars the image of God in you? Those are the sins that weigh you down because they prevent other people from seeing Christ in you. They prevent you from living a godly life. Those sins, we are told to set them aside, cast them away, because they ensnare us, they entangle us, they prevent us from living godly lives as God would have us live, that people may see Christ in us, that we may shine God's light, and they may be attracted to God. They may want to draw near to God. What are the sins in your life? Can you do a personal inventory? An honest one. David asked in Psalm 139, please search me, know my ways, show me if there's any iniquity in me, any way of wickedness. Show me what that is and lead me down paths of righteousness. Let us ask God to help us do this self-inventory. Show us where we are going wrong. Show us these hidden secret sins. Sometimes we do sins and we don't even realize that they are sins. Let us ask God to show us so that we may be able to rid ourselves of those sins that so easily entangle us. So that we can do what? Run with perseverance the race that is set ahead of us, looking to Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. That is point number 3. Are you running your race? Imagine nobody can run your race for you. You are the one who can only run your race. Are you running your race with perseverance and endurance? Because the race is not easy. And what is this race? The Christian life. Living life for the glory and honor of God. Are you running your race? Not comparing yourself with other people like, okay, they are more godly, or they can sing better, they pray better than me. Run your race. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Work on your relationship with God. That is your race. At the end of the day, we are here so that we are in the constant process of sanctification. God is constantly making us into his image and likeness. He is constantly in the business of purifying us, ridding us of all of these sins, of all of these iniquities that are in us. He wants us to be his spitting image. He wants to sanctify us. Are you running your race? Are you every day endeavoring to be able to draw close to God through prayer, through reading the word of God? Are you endeavoring to proclaim the gospel? That is running your race. Are you doing that? And that is where I want to conclude. Remember, there is an audience watching you, the saints in heaven, God, and people on earth who are waiting to see Christ in you. 2, what are the sins that weigh you down? Ask God to reveal them to you if you do not know them. And be willing to cast them off. Cut them off like a cancer, because that is what they are. And 3, are you running your race with perseverance and endurance, looking to Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith? Are you doing those 3 things? Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Next week, we will carry on with verse 3 and 4 of Hebrews chapter 12. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to like, comment, and share. If you have any topics that you'd like me to talk about on this Just a Girl with a Sword episode, it is okay. Please let me know in the comment section below. Have a blessed week.